But outside of that, I mean, besides that Gunnar Henderson is very, very talented, one thing that I'm very happy about, guys that are slumping, how about Cedric Mullins getting back on track with some 2 knocks, baby? Ceddy.
Hello, baby, Ceddy.
Friend of the show, friend of the program. And look, we can all establish that baseball is hard. We understand that there's an expectation, though. You got to play to a certain level, but slumps are going to happen. And there's no secret that it's been a rough go for Ceddy. Yeah. But it looks like, guys, he's getting back on track. And then, Zach, did you say there was a comment about with Ced? Were you the one that I was just talking about with Cedric on his approach?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, about how he was pressing or no?
Well, all of it. Go ahead with the pressing part.
Well, yeah, Cedric I want to say it was last week, had talked about in an interview how when you're in a slump, players know when they're pressing and, but it's not necessarily something he said that as easy as you going, oh, okay, I'm just going to stop pressing now. Now everything's going to be fixed. Like, It's not that. There's so many different ways. You're not seeing the ball. You're getting into your stride too soon. It can be so many different things. And you could see that Cedric was popping up balls that usually he hits out of the park. And you could tell it was starting to really get to him. And then you also had things of gets called strike 3 on a ball at his head. There's just, when it rains, it pours. That's what we were talking about. But he really is finally got the 2 knocks, 2 very good, well hit balls. And it's one of those things where it only takes 1. Maybe it only takes 2. Hopefully he gets back and going, because him and then Austin Hayes being healthy, if you can get those 2 going again in that lineup, it's so deep, it's insane.
Yeah, and I think this is not with every one of our fans, Brad. You've heard me talk about this. It's not that I understand fans' frustration. We're just trying to give a different perspective of it, where there's so many different things that go through it that sometimes we do misunderstand how hard or how much you can slump. The best players in the world still slump. Now, Aaron Judge is really hot right now, but Judge was off to a slow start. And while you talk real quickly, I'm going to pull up the stats here on some other major league hitters here that are really struggling so far.
Well, and it's kind of mind-blowing, right? When you look at the Blue Jays roster as a whole, they're all slumping at the same time. Like, that's the worst possible scenario. It's like, it's not just, as O's fans, a lot of O's fans are complaining about one guy or 2 guys that aren't, doing as well as the rest of the team. How about like being a part of a team where the entire roster is slumping? And that's what's going on with the Blue Jays. I mean, Springer and Guerrero Jr., they've all not been doing great. They've all been off to a slow start. You look at that roster and think, man, like they should be contending for the division, and they're, dead last. So it's been tough. I will say, though, too, as you pull up these stats, just keep top of mind here. I want to talk about the rest of the league a little bit, especially the division, because the Yankees are on a 7-game win streak.
They're on a bender.
So I want to talk about after you bring this up.
Yeah, so sorry, I don't know how to zoom in on this right now, so I apologize. But if you guys want to look at this,
control.
I
think it's control in your little scroller.
Control and scroller. No.
Oh,
You're zooming in on your screen.
Oh, nice. I don't know what's going on.
Never
here.
mind.
That's right.
Hey, there we go.
There we go. Hey, now. Okay, so if you look at the top here, Randy Arozarena, Tampa Bay Rays, great player, right? You're not going to, get rid of him, but he is the worst qualified hitter by average right now, hitting 158, OPS of 573. We want to go down this list a little bit. Corbin Carroll, reigning rookie of the year, talented player, hitting 191. Keep going down. Obviously, you see Cedric Mullins' name there. Francisco Lindor, Carlos Santana. Well, actually, I don't know why I said Carlos. He's beyond his quote-unquote prime here. Sorry, George Springer. Let me keep going down the list so you guys can see it. Nick Castellanos on the Phillies, hitting 207. Santander's on that list. Bo Bichette at the bottom here, hitting 211. And that's a guy that they need to play well. We'll go to the next page because I want to just drive this point home. Paul Goldschmidt, one of the best hitters in all of baseball, truly. Hitting 214 right now, only 4 home runs, 4 doubles. And Xander Bogaerts. And now Manny Machado just picked up his number a little bit, hitting 222. But my point is, guys, a lot of really good players that are off to slow starts. So I wanted to give the context of this because of that. It's not going to be perfect. And I'm not saying that guys shouldn't, that there shouldn't be a expectation. And I try to tell people, at least with Seti, when they go over the last 2 years, he's the calendar year thing. It's hard to compare one season to another when you take a break, and one season's very injury riddled and you're getting off to another part of another season. It's a completely different mindset. Now, if Cedric and other guys are struggling and when you get into July, you can sit there and go, okay, we're going to have to address this. But when you're looking around Major League Baseball, good players, you got to trust that they're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
Like that's the point we're trying to make, Kevin.
I mean, didn't we go through this last year with Austin Hayes?
And Mateo, by the way.
and
Everybody wanted to get rid of Mateo too. And now look at him.
That was kind of like reverse, where it was like he balled out and then off a cliff, and that was it. Get rid of him. That's it. And for Hayes, it was he struggled for what? Months to start last year. And
no, he's got off to a slow start to the month.
Right.
But then he was red hot and he ended up hitting over 300, but he got off to a slow start to the season. Yes,
exactly. But then you can talk about another guy here who I think has drawn a lot of flack recently, and that's Colton Cowser, who obviously on a tear to start the year and had a great stretch, but then we saw his struggles, but has hits in 3 of his last 4 games, including obviously the 3 for 4 yesterday. And it felt like a lot of people were ready to turn on him and say, oh, this is just who he is. And, players go through slumps all the time. No one's going to hit 500 for an entire baseball season. Again, as I think, Zach, you say it, where it's like you can fail 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, and be a Hall of Famer.
Exactly. So it's just sports are reactionary. I mean, look at me about the Nuggets right
now.
Yeah,
we can tell.
Look at me. Sports evoke reaction.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
Last 5 games, Colton Cowser has 6 hits and 6 walks, 429 batting average. I think it's like a 179 OPS. Yeah. If I got that right.
So you acknowledge the struggles when they're there. You say, yes, this player is struggling right now. It hasn't been great, but that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way for months and months and months and months.
Right. And again, you take it as it comes, and it's way down the stretch here that you got to figure out what you're going to do. And for the Orioles right now, the biggest thing is when Cedric's playing, when Cedric plays well, the team's way different. They're a way different team. So overall, I think it's going to be